6,000 years ago, in the beginning of civilization, what we know of today as the Middle East and North Africa resembled a green, lush landscape similar to what we hear in religious stories describing the start of humanity. In the coming millennia, this landscape would drastically change from a shift in the Earth's orbital patterns, destroying the land and causing burden to those who settled there. What once was the ideal climate for humans to create agriculture and in return starting civilization turned into a dry, hot desert that is unbearable to live in today. This is not the first time in human history this has happened, and it certainly won't be the last. While the Earth's orbital patterns continue to shift, today we face a similar change in the making of our own. What we call global warming, also referred to as climate change, is mainly caused by the releasing of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, creating a greenhouse effect for our planet. While a major issue, there is a bigger issue on the horizon directly tied to climate change that no one is talking about today. This major issue, coupled with the spreading industrialization of our world, that within our lifetime will potentially cause economic disaster, widespread famine, and likely ripple adverse symptoms into even the richest and most secure societies. This is the 21st century water crisis.
This water source be dry in May. I haven't ever seen it myself. It was such a dry year, every drop of rain that hit the ground was absorbed in the ground, and none of it gathered or collected into a reservoir like this.
September modern now by September lakani biro milati ji ta share.
Countries such as Spain, India, Mexico, Iraq, Egypt, and plenty more will experience the most water stress, with adverse features crippling their societies. In this graphic, we see that the majority of countries by 2050 will feature some level of water stress, according to the World Resources Institute, measuring this phenomenon based on current climate change trajectory and population growth. Today we see the beginning of the end, with Lake Mead the largest reservoir and the richest country in the world at 34% capacity. Lake Mead provides drinking water for roughly 25 million Americans, and important cities that are crucial for the economy, such as Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Phoenix, San Diego, and several large farming operations. Lake Mead Reservoir, also home to the Hoover Dam, provides power for millions of people, not only in the United States, but Mexico as well.
Were in course of construction, and from a maze of reinforcing steel, rapidly rising toward the uppermost rim of the canyon. These structures were later to serve as giant inlet valves for the outlet conduits and power penstock systems. And the placing of the seats for the mammoth cylinder gates was an important phase in their construction.
The United States isn't the only country with major water problems in the near future. Mexico City, the largest city in North America with roughly 22 million people. Experts warn of a day zero where in the near future the entire city could run out of water. As of today, the Cutzamala system, a network of dams and canals providing the largest amount of water to the city, is historically low, with estimates putting it at around 30% capacity. India, whose population is expected to rise to 1.7 billion by 2050, will likely face the worst fate out of any country at the time, with potentially 60% of their population being water stressed. While a majority of us watching this video who might live in colder and more wet climates may think we are safe, couldn't be more wrong. Economic migrants, illegal immigrants, and refugees have been a hot topic in Western politics for the last 20 to 40 years, but in the future the main migrant will be a climate refugee, escaping highly water-stressed lands such as Mexico, India, and the majority of the Middle East and North Africa. The climate havens where the population will experience minimal life-changing factors regarding water stress will be Northern Europe, Canada, northern areas of the USA, Japan, Russia, New Zealand, parts of East Africa, and the southern region of South America.
1 year ago, hundreds of thousands were on the move across Europe. It was epic in scale and posed a profound challenge for the continent.
While we can't predict the laws of the future, it is likely that countries that are easy to migrate today will likely face the brunt of climate refugees. These countries will likely be EU countries, Canada, and the United States of America. In these water-stressed countries, these population losses can lead to further destruction of their society, such as population imbalance between young and old, political destabilization, reduced economic activity, and a loss of influence within macro politics, leading to further disasters and further destruction within these societies.
It doesn't make sense. Whatever's happening now doesn't make sense.
From his downtown Toronto balcony, a housing market Phil Warder once saw as attainable is now anything but.
We were putting in bids and we thought we were being competitive. We would go, $100,000, $200,000 over the asking price, and we were getting outbid by $100,000 to $200,000.
Warder and his family are in the same boat as so many other Canadians. Double-income household, good jobs, a kid and a dog, and in need of more living space. But they're stuck in a condo downtown.
The impact these climate migrants or refugees may have in the future in their potential host countries could be housing shortages, economic challenges, healthcare shortage, food and water shortage, high unemployment causing more poverty causing potentially more crime, more public spending, more inequality, and further political destabilization.
Would Egypt and Ethiopia really go to war over water? Hello everyone, I'm Falso Bikal. Welcome to the France 24 debate. With the construction of Africa's largest dam nearly complete, Addis Ababa says it's going to start filling it next month.
It's also not off the table that countries could go to war over what we consider a basic luxury today in the West, such as fresh water. An example of a modern-day discrepancy is Ethiopia building a dam on the Nile River basin, with Egypt viewing the dam as a threat to their water security. Similar examples such as this can be found between countries such as India and Pakistan, Israel and its neighbors, Turkey, Syria, and even the U.S. and Mexico regarding the Rio Grande and Colorado River.
With the official start of summer just a few days away, scientists say a mega drought across the western U.S. could get even worse. Some farmers have already had their water sources cut off, and the drought, which leaves more fields fallow, is also fueling devastating wildfires. Richard Bianchi is a fourth-generation farmer in Hollister, California. His fields, farm, and family are now facing the mega drought, which scientists say is the worst western dry spell in 1,200 years.
As the situation becomes worse, countries will likely try new solutions to help ease the stress of water in their nations, avoiding economic losses with water-stressed cities and agriculture. While it's fairly obvious to me, a city like Las Vegas should even exist in the first place, and a place like Los Angeles County should not have 10 million people in it, and that we probably shouldn't be farming highly water-intensive crops in the Central Valley of California and Arizona, but it's unlikely that this is going to change. But it's highly unlikely that America is going to let these industries and cities just die. Countries with similar climates, such as China, will likely follow suit. What are the options, at least here in America? What is likely to happen? What are the potential solutions? And what will be the downsides and cons of these solutions? The United States has one thing that will likely be its saving grace, which is the Great Lake region, which holds up to 21% of the world's fresh water. A plan that has been floating around in the ether has been the USA building a pipeline from the Great Lakes going all the way to the West Coast to fill up their reserves. However, this plan is often shot down for two reasons. The USA doesn't own the entirety of the Great Lakes, Canada owns a good majority, and the states that are within the region, such as Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, own the beds of the Great Lakes and do not want this project to happen.
For decades, it's been hoped that seawater could be desalinated at scale to produce fresh water. Yet desalination plants still provide only around 1% of the world's drinking water. The reason for the slow progress has been cost. Desalination plants are expensive to build.
Desalination is likely to be the most known and common choice. However, while it might seem genius, there's a major downside to this process. This process requires high energy use, and as the Western world is focused on climate change, we are focusing on changing our energy use and switching to different energy sources, what we call today clean energy. However, clean energy today is not as cheap as natural gas and oil. While the energy conversation is a totally different topic that is highly nuanced and likely a video that could be 10 times longer than this, we do know that energy costs money. On top of being energy intensive, this process also leaves lots of salt brine behind, usually going back into the ocean, potentially harming the ecosystem. The financial cost to start this project is also high. Countries that currently use this process are Australia, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. This is likely to become a common option in the near future, with countries such as the USA, China, India, South Africa, Spain, and Mexico all having plans to build desalination plants in the future. Another option we don't hear much about is creating glaciers into fresh drinking water or capturing the water as the glaciers melt. Glaciers currently hold up to 70% of the world's fresh water supply. Yes, you heard that right. 70% of the world's fresh water supply. It makes you wonder why Trump wants to annex Canada and buy Greenland. Countries such as Chile, Pakistan, Switzerland, Norway, and Iceland all use some portion of their glaciers for their water supply. Another option, and this might sound crazy to some people, but let's stop building in areas that are water stressed. There's a reason why the majority of the population in America lives east of the Mississippi. It's because it's not water stressed and because there's lots of resources there. While that might sound silly to a lot of people, cities such as Phoenix have already begun this innovation. While this can be good and bad, the good is we take a more natural solution to the problem and have people move to locations with an abundance of water, such as the East Coast and the Midwest. But locals will be priced out of their hometowns as a lack of inventory within the home market. Cities in the world that now manage growth based on water stress conditions include Las Vegas, Mexico City, Cape Town, and of course, Phoenix. Sometimes doing what is best for the environment requires sacrifice, planning, and teamwork. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, make sure to share, like, and subscribe. I'm also curious, do you live in a water-stressed environment? If so, have you noticed any differences as of recently compared to, say, when you were a kid? I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Have a great day, everyone.